Throughout the first few decades of the Cold War, the United States relied on the doctrine of mutually assured destruction to deter enemy missile attacks.
The size, composition, and alertness of the offense force is such that the enemy realizes that an attack on the United States would likely mean committing national suicide.
To help maintain the strategic stability between the superpowers and curb the rapid proliferation of missiles, the United States and Soviet Union signed the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty in 1972. A decade later, President Ronald Reagan decided that the American public deserved a better sense of security than what mutually assured destruction offered.
What if free people could live secure in the knowledge that their security did not rest upon the threat of instant U.S. retaliation to deter a Soviet attack, that we could intercept and destroy strategic ballistic missiles before they reached our own soil or that of our allies?
In March 1983, he announced the ambitious Strategic Defense Initiative. Nicknamed Star Wars, SDI called for the development of a system that would use a combination of terrestrial and space-based platforms to intercept incoming missiles. Technical obstacles, cost, and the collapse of the Soviet Union led to a review of SDI in the early 1990s. It was decided that the program should be refocused to defend against limited missile attacks originating from the Middle East and rogue states. In 2002, the United States withdrew from the ABM Treaty in order to freely pursue a national missile defense. As part of this effort, the U.S. reached an agreement to place ground-based mid-course interceptors at a complex in Poland that would provide Europe with protection from short and intermediate-range missile attacks. However, concerns over the ground-based interceptors' poor performance in tests prompted officials to reconsider the plan. It was decided that a more efficient and reliable system was needed to serve as the basis of the European missile defense. It was not long before someone realized the United States already had a system that could do the job. Named for the mythological shield of Zeus, the Navy's Aegis combat system was developed for fleet air defense and had performed exceptionally well in tests. The versatility of the ship-based system was further demonstrated when it successfully intercepted and destroyed a non-functioning spy satellite. The effectiveness of the system at sea had been so impressive that U.S. officials decided they could move Aegis Ashore as part of the ballistic missile shield to defend NATO and its allies. Pursuing a phased adaptive approach, the first stage called for Aegis-equipped U.S. ships operating out of Rota, Spain, to be deployed to the Mediterranean Sea. The second phase involved building an Aegis Ashore facility in Deveselu, Romania, consisting of a deck house and a battery of SM-3 anti-ballistic missiles. Manned by a crew of U.S. Navy personnel and civilian technicians, the facility became operational in May of 2016. Another Aegis Ashore facility to be built in Poland will mark the third and final phase. While it may seem strange to have U.S. Navy sailors and weapons operating hundreds of miles from the sea, it is not without precedent. When the United States finally entered the First World War in 1917, the American Expeditionary Force found that the Allies were dramatically outgunned in Europe. The United States lacked the artillery to compete with the range and power of German heavy guns. However, U.S. Navy battleships were equipped with 14-inch 50 caliber guns that could provide the firepower needed to counterpunch the Germans. The problem was that most of the fighting was taking place far outside of the range of the ships. The solution was to place the Navy's 14-inch guns on railway cars and move them toward the Western Front. Positioned deep into France, the guns bombarded infrastructure behind German lines, such as railway depots, to disrupt the transportation of men and supplies. A century after first taking their ships' weapons far inland, U.S. sailors will again be expanding the Navy's role in defending Europe with Aegis Ashore.